We're on the phone with Karen from Edmore Florist. We're talking about peonies. Karen, how are you? Thank you for calling in.
I'm good, Art. Like, I really appreciate your conversation that you're having with me tonight.
That's great. We talked about little different prices and flowers and availabilities, but tonight, Karen, I want to talk about peonies. Do you have any peonies? Peonies? Like, what's the right way to say it?
I don't know. People
Okay.
say peonies. And
Peonies.
I'm like, peonies. I've always said peonies.
Tomato,
So.
tomato. Okay.
Right.
All right. So tell me, do you have peonies in your store now?
No, we don't, because
don't.
they're really expensive right now, and they're basically out of season. And what we have to pay and what we have to charge our customers, I just can't do that. Like, I don't like charging $20 a stem
Whoa.
when something is way out of season and they're expecting something big and beautiful, and they're going to get something that's really small, and then they're going to be upset about.
Okay. All right. Great points you're making. If I may just interject there for a second.
Okay.
All right. You're assuming that they're expecting something big and grand, but we all know that, and if they don't know, they can look it up online, that peonies are out of season. They're going to be small. I think the confusion lies a lot of the times in the expectations of the florist. We want to think that the consumer's expecting grandiosa, beautiful, big peonies, and we're going to have to charge them so much.
So I don't think that the normal customer, because I've had conversations with our customers and I say they're out of season, like, this is how expensive they are, and then what you're going to get is not what you're expecting. It's going to be like, a silver dollar size instead of these big, beautiful peonies that you have.
Right.
And because it's out of season and because of the place that they're coming from in the world right now, in Israel, they're coming out of Israel and there's a war, and like, it's all these like expensive, like, other things that consumers don't know about, like we do know about, because we're in the flower industry and we have a pulse on what's in season and what's not in season. I think the average person doesn't understand what is in season, and they're like, I want this year round. And when we say it's out of season and you're not going to get what you expect, like, how do we manage the customer expectations?
I think it's about reality. It's reality, because, well, you're making a good point, but when you said that to the customer, you said that you told them that, what did they say?
They actually were like, I didn't know that they were out of season. Oh, yes, there's a war. Oh, I didn't know that this is where they're coming from.
Right. Good job.
In the world.
Right. Well, informing the customer is the best thing. There used to be a guy that made suits in New Jersey, New York areas. It was Cy Sims. Anyway, he said an educated consumer is the best customer. So, yes, I think that's good that you told them that. But at that point now, they have to make a decision. Here's what I think is important, that the florist can come through for them. Because if they go down to Trader Joe's and they got a quarter size peony, that's one more of a peony they got than they were able to get from their local florist. That's my point. So you're trying to be doing a great job and giving the person their money's worth. But the reality is, I think, just letting them know, look, because they're out of season, we have to get them from Israel, and with the war and all that's going on there right now, it's very hard and expensive to get those. They're just not in season. They're going to be small. Is this what you truly need to have, or is there another option? You see, if you just say that to the consumer, now they've been made aware, and then if they ask you how much they are, what's the price you're going to tell them?
Well, normally what we charge is 3 to 5 times.
Okay.
So if we are getting charged $8, we're gonna say it's at least $20 a stem.
Right.
And I also, peonies, it's not a flower that lasts very long. So to charge somebody $20 for a stem of a flower that's not really going to last more than 5 or 6 days, like, I really have a hard time selling that to a client.
Would you sell them a gardenia?
Are those in season right now?
But regardless, I mean, that's another flower that doesn't last more than 2 days.
Well, but yeah, no, like we don't have those either. Like,
Okay.
but we actually offer, like, instead of a peony or a gardenia, like what about a garden rose, which is like it starts out like really tight, but by the time it opens up in 2 weeks, it's beautiful and it's big.
Right.
And you're going to spend a lot less
Okay.
on that flower.
So giving them options is what you're saying, and I think that's great.
Mhm.
But remember, if this is a flower that is going to be incorporated into, say, a wedding bouquet, and the significance of it is when their great-grandmother got married back in August in 1933, they had peonies in the bouquet, and she wants them because there's a significance to the peony. Now,
Then we'll get them.
okay, so that's the main thing, is you let them know it's out of season. However, let's talk about the price a little bit.
Okay.
I understand the buying power is not the same across the board. And while we don't want the big shops to get bigger, we need to still let them know what we can do as a medium to smaller boutique shop. And if you're paying $8 a stem, let's face it, we know that the regular price for that flower is anywhere from $3 to $6. If you're really aggressive, you can get it for $3.5. Probably you're going to pay $6. My opinion, consider $2 off a stem. So what? I mean, you're going to get a few stems. If it's $6, if you're paying $8 and you would normally pay $6, that markup could take it to 25 or 30. But if you're really paying $8, what's wrong with a little more than a 2-time markup just on this bloom? You don't have to break the bank. Either way, the extra $5 or $10 on a few stems isn't going to make or break anything. Why not just assume the price is $6? If you're paying a little bit more, you're making a little bit less, but you're still protecting the transaction at the local flower shop level.
So what you're like getting at there is that we have the product that the consumer, like the client, wants. Like when somebody calls in and we're like, yes, we have it, and so we're going to take a little bit of a hit instead of.
But they don't need to know that. They don't need to know that.
No,
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like, but I'm saying, like, for my shop and my, you know how I am, art. Like, I'm
Yeah,
like,
I know.
I need to make as much money as I can. But so saying, like, if we have the product that's available and we don't maybe do our normal markup, but we still like have like a little bit of a profit, like we make like a little bit of a profit, it's better to have that little bit of a profit to make sure that we have the product that the customer needs. Is that what you're saying?
It is. A little bit of something is better than 100% of nothing.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and remember, if it's just, let's just say it's a bridal bouquet and you're going to need 3 peonies in that bouquet, and the bouquet was priced at $150. To me, it's not an issue. It's a non-issue. I don't even want to talk about it. As long as you can get them, what's more important, that you adjust the expectations and let them know it's going to be on the smaller side, and because of the seasonal conditions. But as long as they say okay to that, we're talking $2 difference, because you're going to mark that up 3 times. To me, let's just keep it around the $15 to $17 mark. Make a few less dollars on 3 stems and focus on the bigger bouquet and make it a gorgeous bouquet for the bride, if that's the case. And that's usually the case for peonies.
I think that's the case. I also think that you keep talking about the wedding bouquets, but I'm having like just regular customers
Okay.
call in.
Okay. And how many do they want when they call in?
We had a guy call in and actually came into the shop the other day, and he was hell-bent on getting peonies. And he came into the shop and he was like, I've been to 12 shops. And we explained to him like why we don't have them and like how much it would cost. And he ended up like walking around, and he spent almost $300 in our shop because of how we like gave him other options and explained to him. But
good job.
What you're saying now is that if we would buy even the peonies that are smaller, he would have been ecstatic.
Right.
Even paying like what we would have asked. But I really do get what you're saying about like have the product in the store, don't mark it up as much, explain to them like this is what we have and it's out of season, it's like because of this and that, like the supply chain, whatever.
Right.
But he would have been so happy to have a couple of stems.
Nice. And you know what? And I'm not saying that you should have these in your store, because with what you're telling me, considering what you're paying for them, just to have them sitting around a store and they're out of season, I don't think that's a good business decision. I think when a customer wants it, you let them know, here's what it is, here's what we're going to do for you, and we'll have it by Thursday, Friday, Monday, whatever the day is. It's more important that you go to the Yes We Can model that I've been talking about, that yes we can, and here is the next available day that we can have them to you by, and this is the price. And that's it. Don't overdo it. Just leave it at that. Make the transaction. Don't let Trader Joe's be an option.
And I will tell you today that there was a man who came in and he said, do you have any blooming stems? And I said, I don't
Blooming
know
stems of what?
Like cherry blossoms or curly willow or whatever that's in season. He's like, my wife sent me down here.
Like forsythia or anything? Just something in bloom?
Anything. Like he was like, anything blooming. And I said, I don't have that. I don't know what's coming out of my truck because I was out last week and my partner ordered. So I said, you know, give me your name. Let me or your wife's name. I'll talk to her. And I'm like, does she need it today? And he's like, no, we have guests coming in next Thursday. And she just wanted some like blooming twigs, you know. He was like, I don't know, sticks. He said blooming sticks. Sure. And I'm like, okay. I said, well, I can go to my wholesaler and I can get that for you.
Okay.
So just like, it was a yes, I can.
Right.
But I can't today because my wholesaler is closed, but I can do it for you. When do you need it?
Right.
And, like, he was so happy.
Well, that's why we need this Yes We Can program. We need flower shops to really just, it doesn't cost anything. Just commit to the goal being yes we can. Not even to say no, today is not an option. Just to say, I can bring that flower in for you. I can have it here by Tuesday. How many would you like? This way, no isn't even mentioned in the conversation. This is my whole goal in the flower industry. We all need to be a yes we can florist, and all that means is the effort to say yes we can and taking no out of the equation. Really, I don't see why we can't do anything. If anyone else can do it, we can do it. And as far as I'm concerned, Trader Joe's is your biggest competitor because everyone's going that way. And they'll get flowers, and sometimes they're pretty nice. But at the end of the day, I feel like if Trader Joe's can have it, we, the local florists, should be able to have it too.
I agree with
or
that.
Be able to get it anyway.
I agree with that. And I've had so many people in the last couple of weeks, not so many because it's a slow season, but the most of our walk-ins, they're like, I'm sick of going to the King Supers or Safeway or Trader Joe's or whatever, and I Googled you, and I want to support local business, and what do you have?
And you let them know how much you appreciate that.
But then I'm also able to have a conversation with them, and I'm like, I get flowers twice a week direct from growers, and they're guaranteed to last at least a week, but our flowers usually last 2 weeks. You know, like, you have to take care of it. We tell them how to take care of it, and people are ecstatic, and they're like, I'm coming back. I
would say based on the event, the variety of what you're asking for, anywhere from a week to 2 weeks, because that's kind of a stretch going 2 weeks.
It is.
Right.
Yeah.
So in closing, though, the main thing I'm saying, and I hope we agree on, is to preserve the transaction. The flower industry is losing transactions, which means budget buys are being made at the supermarkets, at the King Supers, at the Trader Joe's. And when I tell people about $27 Tuesday and cash and carry specials, I mean, it just aches my heart to hear people say, I'm not going to do it for that price, or I'm not going to this and that. It's Tuesday. Everyone knows if you bring flowers in over the weekend, by Tuesday you're biting your nails wondering, did I buy too much? Do I need this? You have a wedding coming up that weekend, you have to buy extra flowers, you want to move them. Well, you know, if you do a little special like the $27 Tuesday, wrap the flowers and deliver them. The customer is not asking for anything special. We've got to contain and maintain transactions in the industry. And one more suggestion. While you had that customer in the store and he's talking about flowers and availability, say, you know, if you have an upcoming birthday, anniversary, or if you're doing this for a birthday next year, let me know now. Let's put an order in for you. We won't bill your credit card until the day of, but at least we can have an order in so I can have forsythia or other blooming branches available because you've given us plenty of notice. That's how you can start getting flowers by subscription.
I think that's an incredible idea, Art. Like,
good.
Every time I talk to you, I just feel like you give me more incentive to get back to the retail market that I used to be in, and I was really successful, and I feel sometimes intimidated by the flower industry because I'm competing with so many people, but every time I talk to you, I feel like you give me all this advice, and I know we've talked, like, I have to follow through, and I'm getting to that point now after a year of owning a shop. I'm finally getting to that point where I truly get it, and I truly cherish everything that you tell me, and
Right.
I'm doing it.
Well, and you've learned a lot. I mean, considering the amount of experience and the time I've had 35 years, you don't have that much time, and yet you're very up on it. So just guiding your efforts to take those speed bumps out of the way of no, we can't, or let me see what I can do. People want to hear confidence. So that's why, yes, we can. It's so important, and I'm glad that it gets you excited.
Or you get me excited about the floral retail
I love
again.
that. Good.
I love it. Like, having the conversation about the peonies, like the advice that you have given me it's sinking in, and I'm like, why can't we have like the peonies and not charge quite as much,
Right.
but have them for the people who are calling in? I get calls all the time, year round, for peonies or peonies.
And again, it's based on setting the expectations. So you don't have to have
Right.
them in the store, but tell them to
Right.
give you a day or two, and you'll get them in. Karen, thank you so much. Let's keep these conversations going, and I might give you a call to talk a little bit more shop with you another time as well. And that's Karen. Karen, tell me the name of your shop and your location, please.
It's Edmore Florist, and we're in Denver, Colorado.
And it's a pleasure working with you, Karen. Thank you very much, and we'll be in
Thanks,
touch.
Art.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
Take care.
Art.